So we're covering Hurricane Harvey's 5-year anniversary. Sean, you were there, not in Austin, but instead in Corpus Christi, covering it at a different station. As a fresh meteorologist, talk to me about the lead up of the storm.
There was a lot of uncertainty, which is expected with any kind of storm, right? But there was also the ensemble runs, which kind of showed us the various outcomes. And the majority, especially earlier on in the week, was taking Harvey into the south, into well south of Corpus Christi, out towards the Brownsville area. That was one. So there was a lot of uncertainty with the track. The majority of the tracks were way down towards the south. And the intensity, none of the model runs earlier on in the week showed a category 4 catastrophic storm.
Talk to me about the impacts to the Corpus Christi area. I mean, at that time, those were your viewers. That was your area you were covering as a meteorologist.
We saw the winds on the western side of that eye, in the western side of that storm, and they weren't nearly as destructive or powerful as the northeastern quadrant of Hurricane Harvey. One of the most surprising things about this storm after it made landfall was how compact that storm was. Within 20 miles was the difference between destructive, catastrophic category 4, 160 mile per hour wind gusts, and only hurricane force category 1 wind gusts. Luckily, as it made landfall, one being on that western side of the storm of Hurricane Harvey, we were getting sucked in by all that dry air, and the majority of our viewing area, yeah, we saw a general, few inches of rain, but we didn't see a widespread flooding issue like Houston area did.
Was there ever a point where you were concerned or you were scared about this kind of storm coming on shore at your home?
Yes, when I started to see that the trend was getting closer and closer, and when the companies started organizing, sending us the troops to come help out the station, when we were sitting there also during a newscast at one point, when Harvey was making landfall, and then the building started to shake, and when they were also using our station as a hurricane shelter. So we were taking in coworkers and family 24 hours before the event, when the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center started using catastrophic, language in some of their writing. That's when I was definitely alarmed. I was worried, but I knew the message was out there for people. One, out ahead of it, if they could evacuate, to evacuate, if they had the opportunity to do that, to evacuate, and to make sure that they knew all the necessities that they need in order to successfully do that. And for those that weren't evacuating, making sure they were knowledgeable of where they could go to take shelter was very important. And kind of all these behind the scenes things that I, as a meteorologist and learning in school, I wasn't necessarily knowledgeable of, the management, the city management that takes place before a hurricane, is learning about the process of that and kind of relaying the steps from meteorologists to those personnel, to city managers, and just the process of how they relay the message, down the stream there. We really lucked out because it took more of a northern track just north of Corpus Christi.